Good morning. Week 6, NFL DFS, about a third of the way there, and we have about a third of our player pool. Everybody's injured at the moment, but we're gonna find a way to get through this. Jameson, Hutchison, the greatest of all time, Joel Wirth. How are you doing this morning?
Jameson, it's a beautiful day. Birds are singing, grass is growing, sun is shining. The Brewers found a way to not blow their 2-0 series lead, and we're on to the league championship series. So, yeah, it's Packers are back in action today. It's a beautiful day.
So things are looking up for you. Congrats on your Brewers.
Thank you.
I don't know, postseason's been pretty good in baseball. Football's been pretty fun, too. Very wonky DFS slate once again. A lot of injuries go through. The Texans and the Vikings are off. The Broncos and the Jets are currently trying to play football across the pond. I don't even know where they're at anymore. They just show up some random place and kind of move on each week.
So London somewhere, yeah.
So good morning to you, Mr. Hustle, Mr. JJ. Good morning to you guys. That's what we plan on doing, win some money every week here, 10 Eastern. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But we're going to get into it. We got 7 games in the early window and only 7 in the early window, 3 in the late window. So we're going to kick it off. One of the more exciting games. I'm going to pull up the solver here. Seattle Seahawks, Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of games pretty ugly. This one looks pretty good on paper. What do you have to say for this one, Joel?
Yeah, the morning line on this one has Seattle a 1-point favorite, 47.5-point total. So 24.25 for the implied total for the Seahawks, 23.25 implied total for Jacksonville. Jaguars with a pretty shaky secondary make a trade this week. They traded away Tyson Campbell, their best corner, for Greg Newsome. Who's also pretty good. Maybe a better fit for their system. We'll see. But man, you would think that it's going to take him a while to get integrated into that defense. I got burned last week by not practicing what I preached. I was very into Sam Darnold, but didn't start him a lot. Didn't get him into enough lineups, and he went off last week. So I'm anticipating another big Sam Darnold to Jackson Smith and Jigba week. And it's a Seattle secondary that got really toasted by Baker Mayfield last week as well. So I could see this. Yeah, I could definitely see this game shooting out. I could see a Brian Thomas game. I could see Trevor Lawrence going off as well.
Pretty frustrated as well. I didn't play the Seahawks and the Buccaneers. I mean, the Buccaneers seem like every week that's been a team you just plug and play. Seahawks have quietly been that team too. I know Cooper Kupp hasn't had any touchdowns, but he's like quietly gotten a 20% target share. I know JSN has been the talk of the town, but Cooper Kupp is kind of getting there as well. We'll start with the Seattle side. I don't think any of these running backs are going to get played. Kenneth Walker ends up being a guy who each week he rips off the big one, and then his protege, Zach Charbonnet, comes in and drills it in for a touchdown. Kenneth Walker ends up being $7K on FanDuel, and then Charbonnet ends up going to be $5,900. Really interesting spot for those guys going up against the Jaguars, who have been kind of iffy. I've watched that game with Trevor Lawrence, who I still think he sucks, but he did win. So I guess that counts for something. A.J. Barner. I know Brenton Strange, just going to talk about tight ends real quick. A.J. Barner has quietly been pretty good for Seattle. If you want to tack on him with JSN for some Darnold stuff, he ends up being $5,500. I don't know, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, 1 touchdown. In the tight end world, that's pretty ugly. I think that sets up really well. And then on the other side, Travis Hunter got going a little bit. They had some more deep shots for him. I still think he's really hard to play as far as DFS goes, because you're counting on a touchdown. He's not getting the workload as some of these other guys. But like you said, Brian Thomas Jr. sets up really nice too. Let me check his. He's not a tight end, so it probably helped if I clicked on the tight end portion of it. 7,400 on FanDuel and DraftKings. He is 6,200. Trevor Lawrence is very cheap, and he's going to be one of the mainstays as far as quarterbacks. Probably cash viable. He ran a little bit last week. He tripped and fell into the end zone. It was kind of BS, but are you interested in Trevor Lawrence this week as far as, I guess, confidence levels?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to be against like the Seattle defense. Their secondary is really beat up, right? Julian Love is out and Devin Witherspoon is out. Or Witherspoon might be playing, but Tariq Woolen is out. So it's just a really beat up. They're normally a very good secondary, but they're just really beat up right now. So I think you have to try and exploit that if you can. Like Baker got there last week. everybody but Godwin kind of got there last week for the Buccaneers. So, and now Godwin's out this week. So I may have had something to do with it. So yeah, I think you have to be interested in Lawrence to some extent. I think this is just going to be a game that kind of shoots out. So yeah, I think both quarterbacks are going to be play. I think ETN's in play. I think you bring up a good point on the Seattle running backs. It's just like for DFS, I think they just vulture each other so much that there's just no ceiling there that I don't know how you can like be comfortable starting either one of those guys. It's like Walker's the between the 20s guy and Charbonnet's the, passing game, hurry up guy and inside the 5 guy. And they just vulture each other so much. It's just no ceiling on it. You just really can't play them at DFS.
Yeah, it's just been really frustrating. I mean, Kenneth Walker will rip off an 80-yard run. He won't get in the end zone. He gets you 8 points, and that's like it for the day. And then Zach Charbonnet gets a touchdown. That's 6. And then they get like 10, and they have no ceiling. And the problem with these running backs is running backs this year in DFS have absolutely just smashed. And you cannot show up with a running back getting 12 points. And I hope things change, but this is kind of going off topic. If you've just played the hits, like played the best plays, you're probably a millionaire right now in DFS, the way that they have hit this year. I mean, it has just been absolutely chaotic on that front. But last guy I do want to talk about, Travis Etienne, has been quietly there. I thought Bayshal Tootin would have had some run at the beginning of the year, but he's really kind of fallen off. So Travis Etienne, 5,900 on DraftKings, and then 7,300 on FanDuel. So he's pretty interesting. Seahawks, before all the injuries, I thought their defense would have been kind of fun here, but Jaguars have been good enough. Like Jaguars on paper, I think the offense has been solid. Execution has been a little lackluster, and I don't know. I like Seattle side better than Jacksonville. I don't know if I'm going to play a whole lot of. I mean, the easy layup would be like Sam Darnold, JSN, and then bring it back with Brian Thomas Jr. or maybe ETN. But we'll see there. One last.
Yeah,
thing.
I just think.
Go
before we move on, like Jackson Smith-Njigba was just a cash game god. I mean, if you're playing cash, you cannot go to school without JSN in your lineup. It's 7,600 on GK. You can't not be putting him in your lineup in cash.
Yeah,
he's just getting there every week.
That was my last point before we moved on. I just wanted to emphasize JSN was one of these guys. Oh, he's in this offseason. Oh, he's safe, but I don't know if he really has a ceiling. I mean,
he's got ceiling.
Oh, just a little bit. So it's between him, Puka Nacua, and CMC, these high-end pieces. You're probably going to play one of them this week, and you just got to pick and choose. But I think that's it for this game. I don't have any interest in defense. Do you? I don't.
No.
So
too many other defenses I like this week.
Yep. So next game we've got here, Los Angeles Chargers on the road, Miami Dolphins. Chargers are banged up on the offensive line. I've played the Chargers doubles every single week, and I think I'm going to retire that this week. But if you're going to object that, please let me know now. So,
yeah, I've got Chargers at -4 on the road here at Miami, 43-point total, so 23.5 for the Chargers, 19.5 for Miami. Sounds like QJ is not going to play today. He sounds on the doubtful side of questionable. So, if you're going to play the Chargers doubles, it's got to be Keenan and Ladd. Man, this just sets up for a Ladd game, right? Miami's been terrible against slot receivers. I mean, he's probably going to have to go outside with Ladd not in there, but it just really looks like a smash game for McConkey. Finally got in the end zone last week, and then things kind of fell apart. I still don't know what happened in that Washington game, but this just feels like an absolute smash spot. The real question is the running backs, because you really want to start after what Rico Dowdle did. You want to be able to start a running back against Miami, but is it going to be Haskins? Is it going to be Vidal? They're probably just going to split the work. If Hampton was not hurt, this would be a smash game for him, but what could have been is not. So just feels like a smash Ladd game, kind of like Waddle, just because he looks like the volume recipient with Tyreek Hill out. And HN's obviously going to be always a good play no matter when, but this feels like a Herbert, Ladd, Keenan smash game.
Yeah, I'm a little worried that the 1 week I get away from Herbert, this is the perfect spot for him, which it's been like
Exactly.
it's been a couple times, and maybe he's just the running back. He's used his legs a lot too. I don't.
Could
Last week
be.
we had Rico Dowdle just absolutely shove it up our keisters. I don't think any of these cheap running backs are going to do it. Vidal, and I believe they have Naheem Hines coming off he was like a punt returner and a receiving running back. I mean, years ago with the Colts, it seems. I mean, that seems, I don't know, like the George Bush administration that he last played football and now he's coming back to play. So, I just running backs. Vidal is 5,400. Haskins is kind of the same. I'm not interested in any of those guys, and I think a lot of people are going to play Ladd. He is going. I think he ends up probably 20% ownership at his price, 6,400 on FanDuel and 5,700 on DraftKings. A little curious to see if Keenan Allen comes under owned. I think that's very interesting. We've seen him kind of get there. 5,600 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel he is 6,300. So I'm not going to play Herbert this week. And then on the other side, Achane's been good. Waddle's been good. Greatest tight end of all time, Darren Waller. I cannot believe this is what I'm talking about. If plays like this have just destroyed me in the
Exactly.
first 5 weeks, Darren Waller, all-time great. The 5th highest salary on FanDuel in 2025. $6K. You were going to pay $6K for Darren Waller. People do it, and they win. And it's frustrating as hell.
I know. I'm with you, brother.
Why pay $400 more for Trey McBride that you drafted in the 2nd round when you could just play Darren Waller that you picked up on free agency?
Exactly.
I want to stare at this and really let this soak in. 5 targets, 78 yards, touchdown, 2 touchdowns. It's just unbelievable. Whatever. But I think he's viable. I have to come out and say that. And then any interest in Tua? I don't.
Nah.
I think I'd rather just play the one-offs, but I do think we need to talk about him. 7,100. He's in this Bryce Young range, who sets up really nice. We'll talk about in a little bit. Sam Darnold, we just talked about.
I'd much rather play T-Law if we're going down that far.
Yeah. So, Achane, 8,100. He is quietly, well, I shouldn't say quietly. He's gotten there. I don't know.
He's getting there. Yep.
He doesn't have the ceiling of some of these other guys like Jonathan Taylor, just smashing 3 touchdowns every single week. But the thing about Achane this week, if you're paying $8K for him, Kyron Williams is in a good spot. Josh Jacobs in the monster spot. JT, Christian McCaffrey. It's just like, if you're going to pay up that much, you got to
the opportunity cost.
8K is cheaper for the other guys, but those guys also have bigger ceilings. So that's the thing I'm worried about. Waddle Price we'll get to real quick, and then I don't really have much else. I'm a little interested in Chargers defense this week going up against Tua, who just, if you can get a couple sacks, maybe get like a pick 6, and then that kind of pays off. But 6,700 for Jalen Waddle, who's looked pretty good. He is leading the NFL in blue tent visits. Him and Chris Olave were going back and forth, but every week he is waddling to the tent and he comes back. So I think that's about it for this game. I don't really have much. I'm not playing. I wanted to play some Chargers doubles, but I'd just rather go elsewhere on a slate like this.
Right. So, yeah, I think the Chargers doubles are viable. I'm going to sneak some of them in there.
Okay, easy enough then. Next game, Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray takes a football to the helmet and somehow breaks his foot in the process. So we will get Jacoby Brissett today at quarterback. I don't know if that's better or worse, but going on the road to Indianapolis, who has clobbered bad teams. So I think that's pretty interesting. How you feel about Arizona with the quarterback upgrade or downgrade with Jacoby Brissett?
Yeah, this line is pushed up all the way to Colts -10, 46-point total. So 18 implied for the Cardinals. Tough to see them getting there with Jacoby Brissett, like you said, and then 28 implied for the Indianapolis Colts. I ranted on the Raiders last week. Can I go ahead and rant on the Cardinals this week?
It's the best part of the week. If it's not you, it's me. So I'm going to let you have the floor for a minute. I'm going to step back.
This thing with Jonathan Gannon pushing DeMercado, like what DeMercado did was stupid. All right, obviously we know that, but yeah, there's this whole thing online about whether he deserved that fine for pushing one of his players or shoving him in the shoulder pad, whatever. And obviously it's uncalled for. And whether you want to wave your macho flag and say he deserved it, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is the kind of thing that loses you a locker room. it's just plain and simple. Like this is a team that blew a lead in the most unimaginable fashion to a bad team last week, to a previously winless team, a team that almost blew a huge lead at home to the Carolina Panthers in the second half, a team that has seen Kyler Murray just completely stagnate under this coaching staff, and this offense just be like vanilla at best and just have no ceiling. Like Jonathan Gannon is at major risk of just losing this locker room entirely. I could see this team just completely no-showing this game. So I don't want anything to do with, as much as I love McBride and I love Marvin Harrison. I think it's a good spot for him. And yeah, there's people are saying this is probably good for Marvin Harrison with Carlo Biano. That may be true. But I think it's more, I think the problem with this offense is scheme more than it is Kyler. And I just don't think I think you just have to stay away from the Cardinals this week. And yeah, it just feels like another smash week for JT.
It does. I mean, talk about the Colts have been clobbering the bad teams. They had the game against the Rams. They probably should have won. But they, like the Titans, every team, the Dolphins, I mean, they've just absolutely smoked these teams. And the Cardinals are coming in. Jacoby Brissett has not been good. I know people have talked about, and trust me, if anybody hates Kyler Murray more than me on this planet, please give me a call. I'd love to fight you on that. But, I mean, Jacoby Brissett, oh my God. I think people are going to get kind of excited and probably try to sneak in Marvin Harrison Jr. I do want to pull up. And honestly, like the Colts secondary I talked about 2 weeks ago, they had a cornerback who got cooked so bad he retired. He'd rather spend time with his family than play football. And no offense, like millions of dollars to play football or spend time with your family. I love my wife and kid, but I don't know. They can wait a couple months, but 6,900 on FanDuel for Marvin Harrison Jr., 5,300 on DraftKings, and then Trey McBride, who I don't know, it's a new quarterback. I mean, we've seen Kyler do this thing where he just dumps it off to him about 5 yards because that's about as far downfield he can see. But on a slate that has Jake Ferguson, Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft is in the spot of all time, and I mean, honestly, all-time great Darren Waller. I don't know if I want to pay up for Trey McBride on backup quarterback going up against the Colts. So I think some people are going to lean into that narrative, and Jacoby Brissett is like 6K, I think. So it's not like he is a 4,200 on DraftKings, and then he's a 6K quarterback. So it's not like I really want to play that all too much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's people who are going to be trying to sneak that in. Like I said, I'm afraid of this Cardinals team just collapsing. So I can see this being just him being completely useless. So yeah, I'm not going there, especially in cash. He doesn't have a floor, man. He could just zero on you. So I still have, like you said, I still have some interest in Marvin Harrison because I think he could just get peppered with targets. That's possible, but yeah, other than that, I'm trying to stay away from this Cardinals team entirely.
Yeah, and then on the other side, I played the Daniel Jones triple last week, and it kind of got there. It just, when all the cash games hit, Justin Fields makes up enough points in the fourth quarter that he smashes. It's just really frustrating. But Jonathan Taylor, 10K on FanDuel. We are getting to the prime CMC Derrick Henry portion of the program where, like, is it worth paying 10K? Is there enough cheap? I mean, there's really not enough punt running backs to play him on DraftKings.
Yeah.
He is 87.
It's tough.
8,500, excuse me. It's a great spot. I've always, the way I play DFS, I've just really struggled to pay 10K for these guys because you're just asking so much for them, and it's just so easy for them to fail if they smoke the Cardinals and he gets pulled. I mean, Amir Abdullah had a touchdown last week when they were starting to blow out team they played last week. So I don't know. Are you playing Jonathan Taylor this week in DFS?
The problem is, like with Rachaad White and Rico Dowdle going off last week, and Michael Carter too, to an extent, you just don't have, you don't have the cheap guys that you don't have the cheap punt plays to get, that second running back in there and still get to the wide receivers that you want. So yeah, it's tough. Even last week when he had 3 touchdowns, he only had 66 yards rushing.
Yep. And
they gave another touchdown to Amir Abdullah. So, and you could, there's always the chance that Daniel Jones vultures one. They just don't they never get pushed. Like I said, if this Cardinals team just no shows this game, like he may sit at halftime and they may just go with Giddens and Abdullah. So yeah, it's really risky to kind of do that, especially with no real clear, like there's only 10 games on the slate. There's no real clear punt option this week. There's no, last week we had Dowdle and Rashad White at really cheap prices. Now those guys, they had those really good games and now they're priced up at, $5K, whatever they are. So you don't have that real punt option. So it's tough to get Taylor this week.
Just think it's hard, especially with Christian McCaffrey a little bit cheaper. And like I said, we've got some guys we'll talk about. Michael Pittman has been good. He caught a touchdown last week. I don't know if I want to play him because of his, hate to say it, lack of ceiling, like 14, 15, 19, which that's good, but his price, and like I said, just worried about getting pushed.
He's probably fine for cash, but that ceiling just kind of takes him out of the equation in GPPs.
Yeah, and then Tyler Warren, who's been really good. He is playing every sort of formation in the world. He's doing wildcat. He's running back, fullback, left tackle, right tackle, guard. I mean, they are putting him in the red zone and just putting him in all sorts of different formations, throwing touchdowns, and he can actually throw the ball away. That is something that skill players cannot do when they are handed the football. So really impressed by that. Just the little things, but he's been really good. I'm a little worried. Do I think the Colts can smash? Absolutely. Do I think that they all hit their ceilings? Probably not. And Colts defense, I do want to talk about real quick.
Yep, they're definitely in play.
3,300. I mean, Jacoby Brissett averages like 150 yards passing. So, I mean, and people are going to go, oh, Marvin Harrison Jr. Oh, yeah, it's time. I don't know. Slow your roll, buddy. I'll leave it at that. One last thing we didn't talk about, Michael Carter. He would be the running back play I would pick if you had to pick one out of this backfield, but I don't know. I really don't like
no
this
way.
I just don't like this. We say that. I hate to jinx it, but we say that, and
I know
twice. But
he's still, like last week he scored, but he just wasn't efficient. So he's not good. He's not efficient. He's gonna have a backup quarterback playing. This offense could be just a complete zero. There's 50 guys I'd rather play before Michael Carter this week.
I'm right there with you. So we're gonna move on. Maybe this is a little more exciting. At least on one side, it is for me. Next game, we've got the Dallas Cowgirls on the road going up against Carolina. This is probably the game that a lot of people are going to attack, but I'm kind of curious about ownership because I think it might be so spread out that there's still an advantage on this game. So what do you think about the Cowgirls on the road at Carolina?
Yep. So we got the Cowboys 3-point road favorites, 48.5 point total in this one. That is the highest total on the slate. So 25.75 implied total for the Cowboys, 22.75 implied total for Carolina. Last week I had Tet McMillan in my lock of the week because I thought he was going to score 2 touchdowns. He got the volume, he got the yards again, did not score a touchdown even against that pitiful Miami defense. This has got to be the week, right? This has got to be the week. As good as Rico Dowdle was last week, Dallas is pretty solid against. They're okay against the run. They're not bad. It's just their secondary is just a massive weakness. So that's where you want to attack. Plus, the Carolina's going to be without Taylor Moton last week. If you look at a lot of Dowdle's big runs last week, they came over the right side, and they're not going to have basically the entire right side of the line, the preferred starting right side of the line this week. So tough to see him kind of repeating what he did last week. And then the Cowboys, it's just, what combination do you want? Do you want Dak and like Ferguson's just the volume monster with CeeDee Lamb out? Do you want to go with the big plays with Pickens? Do you want to go with Javonte Williams, who somehow is just getting there against all odds after being just absolute garbage last week? Yeah, it's just what combo of Cowboys can you come up with that is not going to be super high owned, like you said, and is going to get there this week?
Yeah, the thing about Rico Dowdle is Carolina's going to be down 3 offensive linemen. So you got Dowdle as a punt play last week. He smashes 30 points, greatest of all time. And then people are going to chase that. He gets a little more expensive, and they're down 3 offensive linemen against a Cowboys defense that actually got a little bit of pressure last week. Not saying they're good, but it was a little better than what it has been.
It was against the Jets. Sorry, JJ.
Yeah, well, yeah, thoughts and prayers. But still, they got a little bit of pressure, and I don't know. Tetairoa McMillan's been really good volume-wise. He has not gotten there on touchdown. It's a great way to get there. I wonder how many people are going to try to play Bryce Young, and he just outside like one game, he just never gets there. So I just rather play this through Dak Prescott, who has been on a tear. He is a top 10 quarterback right now. Javonte Williams, I'm just going to have to capitulate. He has absolutely whooped ass and looks good enough. I'm not going to say he looks great, but I mean, that's been a very big miss on mine. No Miles Sanders, too, so we get Jaden Blue as the running back, too. He pass protects really, really well. He's shown some signs. He's also shown some signs of stupidity. Got some blisters from wearing Louis Vuitton cleats. But I don't know. Jake Ferguson is in probably the best matchup of all time against the Panthers. Or nobody's worse against tight ends than the Panthers. So Jake Ferguson, tight end one by kind of a large margin. I mean, he's kind of pretty big gap against, I believe it's Trey McBride who'd be the second guy as far as like yards and stuff. And the last thing, Ryan Flournoy. I played Jalen Tolbert last week with somewhat confidence, and I just got my ass beat. So I wish somebody would have called and let me know that I was making a mistake before I hit submit on those lineups. But I mean, he looked good. And I expect it to happen again. So if I could spell it right, 5,200 for Flournoy, Ryan Flournoy on FanDuel, and then DraftKings 3,600. So for a punt, if you're trying to smash like JT or CMC, I don't hate it with how it ran out last week, but I really like Dak this week. I've been on George Pickens all year, and then Jake Ferguson is in a really good spot. And I think that ownership will be spread out enough that you don't have to worry so much about, this game kind of getting out of hand, because I think a lot of this stuff's going to be spread out across the field.
Yeah. But I think no matter which way you get, you're going to get duped by somebody. But the Flournoy thing, like I liked Flournoy coming out of college. Like he was small school. He was older than his competition. Yeah. But he was a good athlete. He tested really well, and they just did absolutely nothing last year. Started getting a little bit of run when CD went out, and then all of a sudden just explodes. So yeah, my dynasty rosters are really pissed because I cut him in a lot of spots this year. I held on to him all last year for no reason, and now he just explodes on me. So yeah, that was pretty frustrating.
Yeah. Last thing, I will come out and say I'm a little interested in Cowgirls' defense against Carolina. Down 3 offensive linemen, and they're pretty cheap. I mean, $3K on DraftKings. There is some obvious punt defenses that people are going to play, but I just don't trust Carolina. Down 3 offensive linemen. They got Bryce Young, who never gets there. I thought for a second we were going to get Andy Dalton, and then he kind of came around. So 3,700 for Dallas. I don't think anybody's going to play him, so I'm kind of interested there. So I think that is about it on this game, unless you have anything else.
That's about it.
Yeah, and no, for all the cokeheads out there, you're going to have to wait one more week to open that bag. Jalen Coker not activated off of IR, so apologies there.
One more week. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. The mountain is coming. So next week. Next game, Patriots at the Saints. Seems like Drake May and Stephon Diggs are going to get steamed up a little bit here, but I'm kind of interested. I mean, seems nice on paper. Saints offense has been quietly one of the quickest offenses in the league. They get off a ton of plays, so it sets up nice for Drake May and the gang. But how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, we get Patriots 3.5-point road favorites, 46-point total, 24 3/4 implied for the Pats, 21 1/4 for New Orleans. Trap game alert.
You feeling it?
New England coming off that huge division win at Buffalo. Now they got to go on the road for a second straight week. I'm feeling the letdown coming.
That's very interesting.
This is my trap game of the week. So yeah, I think Diggs and May are going to get played a lot, and I'm going to stay away.
Stephon Diggs, the reason why he's going to get played is his price because of the night game, 5,900 on FanDuel, and he is, I think, he's got like a 38% target share or something goofy like that. 5,800 on DraftKings. He's starting to ramp up. Seems like they got a little bit of chemistry. These are always spots people are going to get overconfident. Not a lot of people have watched New Orleans Saints. I know their record sucks, but they really are not that bad of a team compared to some of these.
Lucky.
Yeah, they fight. They have grit. Spencer Rattler actually looked okay last week. Rashid Shaheed caught the bomb, finally got the big play. Chris Olave is getting 400 targets a week. They're not converting, but I mean, you just got to keep throwing those darts, and finally one will hit the board.
Yep.
But and then Kendra Miller has actually looked really good too with Alvin Kamara. But I don't think either of those guys are great by any stretch of the imagination. And then, second greatest tight end of all time behind Darren Waller, obviously Taysom Hill. Got a little bit of run last week. Always worried about him because they ran some Wildcat stuff. It don't matter what coaching staff it is. They love Taysom. So I don't know. Are you playing any Saints stuff today? I guess what I probably should ask.
I think their defense is. I think their defense is to play, man. They forced a bunch of turnovers against the Giants last week. Their defense plays pretty well at home. So if you want to pay down, like they're the only real pay down defense I can really get to this week. So if you want to go super cheap at defense, I kind of like the Saints.
I actually think that's a very interesting call because the Patriots offense has not been great and it's very thin. I mean, it's Hunter Henry, Stephon Diggs, Ramondre fumbles twice a game, but somehow Travion Henderson is so bad that Ramondre is still going to get the ball. So it makes
sense.
Yeah, I think Ramondre is kind of interesting on this slate just because he's got a couple touchdowns as long as he don't fumble it. But Travion Henderson, I don't know what the deal is. He's missing blocks, something he didn't do when he was in college. And he's just been so bad that Ramondre is probably going to get the full workload because they just hate Travion right now. And I'm going to pull up his price real quick here. 5,700 on FanDuel, and then on DraftKings, he ends up being 53. So kind of a punt running back option I don't hate. I mean, Saints have been decent, but it's another great spot for Rashid Shaheed. So if anybody wants to play him again, especially in tournaments, waiting for the bomb against his own, I think it sets up really nicely for Ramondre here. So I think that's about it. Diggs and Drake May are probably going to be in a bunch of people's cash lineups. I might play him in cash, but as far as tournaments go, I'll probably go elsewhere. And then if I'm going to play a Drake May stack, I would play it with Hunter Henry with it. I think that'll be people will play just him and Diggs. I don't think they're going to bring Hunter Henry along for the ride. I'd bring Henry along to get a little different there. So that's about it for this game. Next game, ain't getting much prettier here. The Cleveland Browns on the road. Dylan Gabriel, his second start, going up against the Steelers, who are getting some help back on defense that have been kind of feisty this year. So I don't know. How are we feeling about this game? Anything sexy? Probably not.
No. We've got the Cleveland Browns coming back from London. 6-point road underdogs here, 38.5 point total, lowest total of the weekend. So 16.25 implied total for the Browns, 22.25 implied for Pittsburgh. Really like the Pittsburgh defense this week. Otherwise, there's not much I'm super excited about.
I think Quinshon Judkins has been interesting. I don't know. I mean, they get some reinforcements back on the defensive line for Pittsburgh, so I don't know if it's the greatest spot. Offensive line for Cleveland's not been great, but Judkins' workload has been pretty good, 19, 16, 16. So he's quietly kind of getting there. Outside of that, maybe the tight ends, because I, of course, benched David Njoku last week, and he starts getting targets, which I just going to call bullshit on that. But very frustrating. But just as far as like tournament tight ends, 5,700 for Njoku. Fannin, after everybody told you to spend all your fab on him, 5,300. He's not been that good. He's just more probably of a dynasty play than he is like a DFS or redraft play. But Jalen Warren on the other side comes back. He's had a good workload, but Kenneth Gainwell looks so good that I'm a little worried that they just kind of vulture each other. And then any interest in Aaron Rodgers or DK Metcalf this week?
Not really. DK's really only getting there on like big explosive run after catch plays, and Cleveland's defense their secondary is very good. They just don't give up that kind of stuff real easily. So I think Cleveland's defense has got to be in play as well, because I think they'll be able to pressure Rodgers pretty heavily. So yeah, I'm not really interested in any of those other than maybe Njoku, like you said, because he seemed to have a connection with Gabriel. I think Isaiah Bond's maybe a real cheap punt play. He's getting targets and he's like 3,700 on DK. So if you need to go super crazy cheap at receiver to try and fit in a Jonathan Taylor or something like that, I can be okay with Isaiah Bond just because he is getting targets. He's been crazy inefficient with his catches. Maybe an extra week with working with Dylan Gabriel and not having Joe Flacco there will make things a little bit better. But yeah, other than that, I'm not feeling it with the offenses in this game. I want to play this game through the defenses.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel talked to Jerry Jeudy about being his guy, and then he showed up with a terrible game last week. So I'm a little worried about this game, and I just probably play defenses. I think both are viable. I think Cleveland's defensive line has been quietly probably one of the better. I don't want to say stories necessarily, but they probably, if they had any offense at all, I think they probably won a couple more games than they have so far this year with how good they've been. So just not a whole lot on this.
If this game was in Cleveland, I could be more interested in the Browns, but I don't see them doing much in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think the only reason why I'm giving this game more street cred than I should, just because I saw Aaron Rodgers week 1 do what he did, and I'm mortified of getting burned by that again, which I know it's not going to happen. I know it'll never happen again, but that week 1 game where him and Justin Fields just both go toe-to-toe in a heavyweight matchup, and they haven't done anything since, but I don't know. I'm just going to move on from this game, giving me PTSD. So next game, LA Rams on the road, the Ravens, who are just falling apart. I think Zay Flowers is going to play, but he is not going to be 100%.
Yep.
It's rough. The Puka show. I'll just get that out of the way. One of these guys who, like JSN, has just been on an absolute tear right now. It's just, I don't know. How deep in the bag are you getting on the LA Rams stuff this week?
Yeah, Rams 7.5 point this morning. Favorites, 45 point total in this one. So 26.25 for the implied total for the Rams. 18.75 for the Cooper Rush, apparently led Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens misery tour continues.
God,
it's really bad luck for them that they get this brutal early schedule while they're so beat up. Kind of sucks for them. A team that is probably really good when at full health, but is probably going to come out of this, go into their bye with a 1-5 record, which is kind of crazy. I think all the Rams combos are all legit. I think going Kyren Puka is good. I mean, last week, who'd they play last week?
Played 49ers.
The Niners. No, I mean who did the Ravens get bombed by the last week?
Give me a second. Texans.
Yeah. So the Texans running back, like Nick Chubb got there, and we saw every receiver in the
Xavier Hutchison or Xavier, not Aiden. God, we're screwing up bad. This is like a bad game, but Xavier Hutchinson got there. Jalen Noel got a touchdown, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody got there. So I think you can play any combination of Kyle Hamilton is back this week. That's a good thing, but how much can he help? Their defensive line is just so weak. They can't put any pressure. That's a terrible thing. If you can't pressure Matthew Stafford, he's just going to pick you apart. So, yeah, I think obviously you can't not start Puka in cash because he's just going to kill you. And if you don't start him in tournaments, you better hit the nuts on the rest of your receivers because he's still going to kill you either way. So, he's expensive, but it's almost impossible not to start him. And this is I wouldn't have a problem in a tournament going Stafford, Adams, Kyren, Puka. It's just really hard to get them all in because they're all expensive, but I'm good with any combination of those guys. And if Cooper Rush is the quarterback, I can't get there on any of the Ravens.
Yeah, it's Ravens. It's just been bad, and it sounds like Lamar Jackson will probably come back after the bye. So it's just not getting any better for him. The Rams stuff, if you try to play all three of them, it gets really expensive. I mean, Matt Stafford, who actually has gotten there. I know I dismissed him a couple weeks ago that I just didn't like his ceiling. Don't listen to me. I know you guys are tuned in to listen to me, but 28 and 30. He did not have that in his bag last year. He would get all the wide receivers there, and he'd get 20. So I apologize for dismissing him, but he ends up 7,700. He's not like the 7K quarterback anymore. Puka 9,800, Devontae 7,800. So I mean that eats up a huge portion of your salary right then and there. And then The game flow I just worry about because I don't think the Ravens are going to push back. So it's going to be the same
that's
thing.
my concern with Stafford.
So I'm going to lean on Kyron Williams. I know he fumbled last week. He's get right spot. I think he could shoot somebody, and like the coaching staff would just be like, "Get back out there, champ." They do not care. He can fumble. He can cost them the game. He can, cheat on somebody's wife. Like it don't matter what he does. They're going to throw him back in there.
He beat McVay's dog with a stick.
Yeah, they don't care. They're just going to throw him back out. Good out there, buddy. So if you want to pair him with Rams defense, which I played Rams defense last week against 49ers and just got my ass beat. I could not believe it. But 4,400 for Rams defense. You get that defensive line going up against Cooper Rush. Pair that with Kyron. It's very expensive, but I think that's a little different way to get different in tournaments. But other than that, not playing the big dog. Big dog is getting pretty cheap now, 7,700 on FanDuel and then on DraftKings. That's always been my worry about Derrick Henry. If somebody got injured, that he just will not get there. And once Lamar went down, he kind of went down with them. So 9.
Their
7,
offensive line
11.
has been terrible as well. So
yeah,
it's just everything's falling apart for this Ravens team. Just nothing works.
So that's unless you got something else. So that's about it for this game, I think.
No, it's like the Cowboys. It's what combination of Rams do you want, and how owned are they going to be? So,
yep. So we got the late games coming up. We got 3 games, and then I guess breaking news. I don't know if it's breaking, but Adam Schefter says Bam Knight will be playing over Michael Carter today. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but I just came across my screen. I just wanted to share my news with the world there. So I still
more reason to be off of Michael Carter, I guess.
Yeah, it still don't matter to me, but afternoon games, like, subscribe, share with a friend on the YouTube page, please. Somehow it'll get back to the universe and helps the algorithm or something like that. I need to find a way to be better about promoting my own show, but that's for a different week. Next game, I'm just going to let Joel have like I always do. Cincinnati Bengals on the road against the Green Bay Packers. Monster favorites, monster matchup. God's gift to the quarterback position. Joe Flacco starting on a less of week since arriving in Cincinnati. What could possibly go wrong here?
Yeah, this is up to 15 this morning. So Packers by 15, 2 touchdowns plus, and with a 45-point total. So the Packers implied total is 30, highest of the week. Cincinnati at 15 with Joe Flacco. Flacco coming in on a short week. Second time this defense has got to see him in a month. Woof. It's really tough to trust anything on this Cincinnati side. Packers defense, especially at home, is really good. And they're coming off that implosion kind of against Dallas, but like Joe Flacco is not Dak Prescott. He's not going to pick them apart that way. And this is a defense that's kind of set up to just, not give up the big play and not let, and Chase's production last week was all pretty much garbage time. He had that really long touchdown in the second half when they were far behind, then scored another touchdown after that. Higgins really got nothing last week, even against a banged up Detroit secondary. That was pretty disappointing as well. So yeah, I don't know how you trust, like Chase Brown's just not doing anything. Their offensive line is so bad. They can't open up any holes unless you think he's going to get a bunch of dump offs or something like that. I don't know how you're starting him again with so many just elite running back options. I don't know how you're starting a ceiling limited guy like Chase Brown. Again, yeah. How do you think the Packers are going to play it? Do you think it's going to be Tucker Kraft? Is it going to be Josh Jacobs? Is it going to be Dobbs? Is it going to be Golden? Is it going to be all of the above? Again, it's how do you want to play Love? Do you want to play Love doubles? Do you want to go with Jacobs and not play Love? Or do you want to play Love with Jacobs? I think that's fine. You want to play Love with Kraft? I think that's fine. This Cincinnati defense just isn't stout. Like pretty much everyone got there for the Lions last week against Cincinnati on the road. Yeah. So like Amon-Ra didn't have a great game, but just because like Tesla got a touchdown and so I mean there's only so many touchdowns that can go around. So yeah, it's just a lot of interest in a lot of Packer combinations, and I'm kind of fading the Bengals. Like even though Chase can get there like he did last week, I'm not paying for it. It's too much.
Right behind Puka, 7,700 for him on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel, he ends up being 8,800. This is just an absolute Bengals offensive line is absolute dog shit. I don't know which way to sugarcoat that. Joe Flacco being behind there is not going to make it any better. If you have not bet the Joe Flacco interception or Packers defense anytime touchdown, first anytime touchdown, I mean, start the game off with a Joe Flacco pick six, I think that's all in play. So before I even get to DFS analysis, just make sure you put those bets in. Thank me later. You can tip me, Venmo, Cash App, whatever. But T. Higgins has been terrible. Chase Brown behind this offensive line has been putrid. If you really want to get wonky, I would probably play him on DraftKings. Just hope that he racks up receptions like dump offs. I don't know what Joe Flacco, as far as the playbook, unless he's just bombing it. I just don't know how it happens.
Is he any better than Browning? Like Browning's terrible, but
no. Well,
he's probably not going to throw as many picks as Browning. But like in the first game against the Packers, he was just airmailing wide open receivers. So I don't know that he's any better than Browning.
Browning last week was so bad, and then he came out the press conference and was like pissed that he got benched and people made fun of him for being so bad. It's like, you sucked ass, dude. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why you're so shocked and surprised, but you brought up a good point. All that stuff production was a garbage time too. So I can't get there. I think I'm just gonna play Josh Jacobs and pair him with Green Bay defense. It just also gets very expensive, and that's been kind of the problem. Green Bay defense, $5K on FanDuel. They're going to be the highest on DraftKings as well at 3,700. And then we'll see about Josh Jacobs, but he's going to be somebody who could get in the box twice. He really doesn't have any competition behind him. Marshawn Lloyd still not activated off IR. I've been waiting 2 years, it seems like, and it's just never going to happen at this point with him. So Josh Jacobs, I think you compare him with some Love stuff. Bengals have been really bad against Tucker Kraft, or not Tucker Kraft, tight ends. So Tucker Kraft ends up in a really nice spot too. But just once again, like, how far do they actually get on the offense that they need to? Like, the Lions scored 37 points last week, and it was the most uninspiring 37 points I've ever seen in my entire life. It was not the normal Lions hammer. They got David Montgomery 2 touchdowns, and they were like, we're just going to goof off the rest of the game.
They got a passing touchdown.
Yeah, they didn't even try to play football. And right. I know that the Bengals kind of came back late, but they didn't even care. So I play Kraft, the bye rookie bump. I mean, if you believe in Matthew Golden, we talked about the last couple of weeks. They've tried. They haven't gotten there, but they've tried the deep bomb. It's a great spot for them. So,
it's coming at some point. It's coming.
I said,
this is the week or not, I don't know, but they're going to try it.
Yeah, so I like Jordan Love. I'm going to probably play him some tournaments and the combinations. I don't know if I'm going to play 3 pass catchers with them. I think I'd limit it to 2, just because I'm worried that I think Josh Jacobs is going to get some run. I just worry that all of them can get there, and then you're losing a spot to somebody
I kind of like playing Love with Jacobs just because, like, you go back to the Dallas game, like Love had through the 3 passing touchdowns to Dobbs, and Jacobs still had 2 touchdowns. So I think they can both get there together. So I think that'll be the kind of contrarian way to do it. So I kind of like doing that as well.
Yep. So we'll move on from this game. There's really not much else to say. You're just going to pick the combination. I like Tucker Kraft. That's my pick as far as if you're going to pick one of those guys, and then Josh Jacobs there too. So next game, Tennessee Titans, one of the worst wins of all time, go on the road to the Raiders, who are absolutely reeling right now. Titans get J.C. Latham back. That's kind of big. The end of the Titans game, the offense got a little bit better. Calvin Ridley had a good game finally, but I don't know. It's still Tennessee Titans, still the Las Vegas Raiders. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that one.
We've got the Titans as 5-point dogs in this game on the road, back-to-back road games, back-to-back West Coast trips. I don't know if they stayed west or they came home. I'm not sure, but 41.5-point total. So 18.25 implied for Tennessee, 23.25 implied for Vegas. Should Vegas be 5-point favorites over anyone?
Not without Brock Bowers and Geno Smith being
Geno's legit the best preferred starter in the league, or the worst preferred starter in the league this year. He's throwing picks at a ridiculous rate. Tennessee, like you said, Tennessee kind of got their offense going. I love Calvin Ridley this week. Like, they got him going. I think he's fully healthy. They got him going. He's crazy cheap for what he can do. I think he's an absolute smash. This Raiders secondary is hot garbage. This entire team is hot garbage. I railed on them last week. They didn't get any better. Did Pete Carroll actually wear a "I'm not benching Geno Smith" t-shirt or some nonsense this week?
Seemed that way.
It's falling apart. So I just don't know how you want to say they should be 3-point favorites just because they're both terrible and Vegas is at home. Okay, yeah, I get that, but they should not be 5-point favorites over anyone. Yeah, Genty's probably got to be in play, just because he's getting work in the passing game. He's the only thing they have going. Tennessee's defense is no great shakes. They gave up touchdowns to Michael Carter last week, so he's got to be other. Like Jacoby Myers has been such a massive disappointment. He should be getting involved. It's just not. I mean, he's getting targets, but
I've played him the last 2
so
weeks.
bad. Yeah, and he's just not getting there. Like 2 weeks ago, he should have been a cash game smash against the Bears. Didn't get there. It's just been terrible. Geno's just tearing this whole thing down. Them not benching Bowers and him being out. Now they're saying he's going to miss next week too and be out through the bye. It's just been a disaster first half for the Raiders. So, yeah, I love Calvin Ridley this week. Genty's got to be in play. You're going to have to get some of him into your lineups, but because Tennessee's so bad against the run. But other than that, not much to live by. I kind of like, if you want to be super contrarian, I kind of like some Cam Ward, Calvin Ridley stacks.
I don't know if I can do Cam Ward.
That's digging deep, but
especially on this slate. I mean, I get it. Cam Ward has looked a lot better than, I know the box score sucks and Tennessee sucks, but I think Cam Ward is the real deal. But I will say this: I really like Ashton Genty this week in this spot. I think this is going to be one of the last weeks that you could play Genty with confidence. He's expensive. Offensive line sucks, but Tennessee against the run has just been so bad that I think it really sets up. And Jacoby Myers hasn't gotten there. Michael Mayer, I think he's fine as far as a punt tight end play. I don't think you need to do it. And then I don't know if I'm going to totally vouch for it. Jack Besh has gotten a little bit of work quietly, and I don't know, starting to grow a little bit. 5 targets last week or whenever it was. So I don't know if I could do that as far as like a punt wide receiver, but he's kind of working his way into the lineup. But I think for me, I'm a little more open to Calvin Ridley now that you are so excited about him. But I just, I don't know. I like Genty a lot, and I think it's probably going to be those two guys. And then possibly the defenses. Do you have any interest? Raiders defense is probably going to be probably a very chalky defense this week.
I'd rather go with Tennessee against the Raiders just because Geno's been such a turnover machine.
Yeah. They talked about Kenny Pickett starting, which, God, is that? I don't know. I can't believe we've got to have it's week 5. We already got to do this nonsense. But
yeah.
Titans are dirt.
But it's been that bad though. I mean, maybe after maybe they go get Jameson after bring Bowers back and just go bombs away. See, that would be fun. Like Geno's just sad. It's just sad right now.
And I like Geno, but I mean the wheels have really started to fall off for him. It's just getting really bad for him. So last game here, because I don't think there's anything else. This is probably the most interesting game on the slate this week. The San Francisco 49ers coming off a monster win with McCorkle Jones and on one leg and nobody to throw to outside of CMC. On the road to Tampa, who comes off another really close win. Tampa kind of seems like the team of destiny right now. They're down 400 players. They squeak out a win every single week. But on paper, there's a lot to like here, even though with all the injuries. So, I don't know. I'm going to try to get some way about this game, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on how you're going to attack this one.
Yeah, I saw a note from Aaron Schatz this week that Tampa was the 9th worst by DVOA 4-1 team of all time. So kind of punching above their weight class right now. Morning line is the Niners by 3-point underdogs on the road here, 47.5 point total. So 22.25 implied total for McCorkle and the Niners and 25.25 implied total for Tampa Bay. This should have been a great game, but it's just turned into the walking wounded. No Purdy, no Pearsall. No Godwin, no Mike Evans. It's just
no Bucky.
No Bucky. Yeah, exactly. It's just there's too many to remember them all. Mac Jones is terrible against the blitz. You know Todd Bowles is going to bring the blitz a lot. So this just feels like I don't want even Kendrick Bourne is at a good price and it's going to be pretty highly owned. I want to play this game through McCaffrey, and I want to play this game through my kind of punt play of the week, and that's Jake Tongas. What, 3,700 on DK? I'm putting him into flex spots this week because I think he's going to get massive volume because they're going to want some quick options. He got a ton of targets last week. Yep. It's just way too cheap for that target volume in this offense. So, yeah, it's McCaffrey. Obviously, Ibuka's in play. Rachaad White's in play because they're like the Niners defense is not that great. They gave up big production to Kyren Williams last week. He really tore them apart. So I think, and Rashad's, he's gonna get a bunch of dump offs with no Chris Godwin in there. So yeah, it's Rachaad White and Ibuka on one side, and it's Tongas and McCaffrey on the other.
Emeka Ibuka is just run hotter than the sun right now, and I'm not saying he's a bad play, but just the injuries to begin the year. The touchdown variance, like 2 weeks ago, he caught the big bomb, and that kind of saved his day. But, I mean, this is what it is right here, and he's been like Puka light right now. Him and JSN and
pretty much
Puka, those have been like kind of the top 3 wide receivers as far as these guys go. And he's going to be the cheapest. Baker Mayfield, it just does not matter with him. He just comes out and whoops absolute ass every single week. 6,600 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel. Pull this up here real quick. 8,200. You're going to pay for him, and I mean you're paying without, his artillery with him. But I don't know. He just finds a way every single week. I do want to bring up Cade Otton. I think that with how many injuries they have, they might just run to 2 tight end sets, and instead of Cade Otton blocking, I think he might get a little bit of work. So 4,800 on FanDuel, 3,400 on DraftKings, and we saw a couple of these Cade Otton games last year when all the wide receivers were hurt. They just Cade Otton ends up smashing. So it's kind of like the Mike Gesicki where T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, one of them end up being out, and then Gesicki just kind of goes nuclear. So I like Cade Otton as far as the punt play. McCaffrey, we're going to have this conversation. Between him, Puka, Jonathan Taylor, out of those 3 guys, do you have preference this week on if you had to pay up for one?
Man, I think it's McCaffrey. You can't run against Tampa, but I think he's just going to get so much work in the passing. I think he's a lock for double-digit targets in this game.
Yep.
Probably pretty close to double-digit receptions. So, like I said, I think the offense is going to completely run through him, and I think Mac Jones is just going to have to dump it off to him quite a bit. So, yeah, I love him. He's cheaper than Taylor. So, and with my concerns that Arizona just completely no-shows that game and Taylor is just out of the game by halftime, and this is going to be a competitive game. So, yeah, I love McCaffrey this week.
Yeah. The one guy I do want to bring up is Juwan Jennings. It seems like he's going to play. I know that – not Terrell Jennings. Good grief. Juwan Jennings. I know that Kendrick Bourne and McCorkle have some chemistry, but Juwan Jennings, anytime that he's been kind of all alone with Pearsall out or Brandon Ayuk last year, he just has these monster ceiling games. 19 points, 28 last year, 25 last year. I know it's kind of going back a little bit, cheating there, but he's been in some really big spots, and I think he's going to go kind of underlooked here. 4,800 on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he ends up being a 6K wide receiver, and I think he's got a lot of more ceiling than some of those other guys. He's going to be in the same range as Stephon Diggs. I think that's a way to kind of get contrarian if you're going to play one of those mid-tier 6K wide receivers. And then Sterling Shepard as well. Probably going to end up being the wide receiver 2 behind Ibuka. 5,100. He's been okay. Just hoping for a touchdown. I just kind of want to throw that out there. Probably more of a price. Probably more of a 3,800 on DraftKings. Probably more of a large field play. Rachaad White is probably the last guy we'll talk about here. 6K on DraftKings. Much more expensive. 6,800 on FanDuel. I think he's fine. I would probably play him on DraftKings with the dump offs, the receptions there. But I think he's okay. I'm very curious to see if the field chases the Rico Dowdle and Rachaad White stuff from last week. I honestly think they will a little bit, and I'd rather go elsewhere. Yeah,
I'm not chasing Dowdle this week. Like I said, I'm a little nervous about that matchup, but I do like Rachaad White just because with Godwin out, I think I don't want Rachaad White on FanDuel, but on DK with the full point PPR, I am interested in Rachaad White quite a bit.
Yeah, and then these defenses, I think both are fine. I don't know if I want to play any of them, to be quite honest. I just would rather
Yeah,
play
there's
some.
other ways I'd rather go.
Yeah, so I think that is about it for this slate. And then JJ obviously keeping us up to date on how the Jets are doing this morning. It's not well. We're gonna pray for you, buddy. You need to find you a new team. I think you just deserve a little bit better than the New York Jets, but uh, that's just me there.
Man,
Last,
I was in on the Jets this year.
oh god,
I'm disappointed.
it's the Jets. We've been doing this for
I
15
know.
years.
I know.
I don't know the Sanchez, which I don't want to get into that rant, but it just if that doesn't resemble the New York Jets, I don't know what does. But pulling for you, JJ. Hope things get better. I'm starting Justin Fields in the league, so he needs to be better.
Yeah.
But last thing before we get out, flag plants, obviously the most important thing on the show. So, Joel, if you want to start us off with your first flag plant for the weekend.
I was going to do Tet McMillan, but the last time I went the same guy back to back, CeeDee Lamb got Schottenheimered and hasn't played since. So I'm not going to curse him like that. So I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley. Like I said, I think he is fully healthy. They got him going last week in a great matchup with the Raiders. He's crazy cheap in DFS this week. So I'm going to have Calvin Ridley in a bunch of my lineups.
That makes me kind of excited on my first flag plant because I'll be on the other side of it. I'm going to flag plant Ashton Genty. I think this is going to be one of the last times that you get to play him with confidence. With this workload going up against Tennessee defense, I think it sets up really nice for him. And then with these running back plays, Javonte, Kyron, Jacobs, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, he just ends up a little cheaper. And I think he will end up having a little bit of that ceiling. So I will go Ashton Genty for my first one. And then your last flag plant for week 6.
Second one's the guy we just talked about is Jake Tongas. I think is going to get a ton of volume in this offense without Ricky Pearsall. And with a defense that's going to blitz Mac Jones heavily, he's going to want to dump the ball out quickly. I think they're going to have a ton of kind of option routes and quick reads to Tongas. Double-digit targets last week and just crazy cheap. So, yeah, I'm okay starting it. If you need a cheap flex option, I'm okay starting him there and going double tight end this week because I think there's some really good tight ends like Ferguson and Kraft who are not crazy expensive. So I think if you want to go double tight end, I think that's a very viable way to do it.
I like it. You went way off the deep end this week as far as your flag plants go. I love that Tongas call because I don't think a lot of people even realize what he's done production-wise. We've obviously got the tight ends at the top who have been really good. So playing Tongas to have that kind of ceiling, which he's had so far, he's been really good. So my second one, going to the quarterback world, I feel like a little bit of a homer, even though I'm not a fan of this team. But Dak Prescott on a slate where we are missing a lot of the high-end quarterbacks as far as Josh Allen, Lamar, Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
A lot of people are going to play Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people are going to play Drake May. Dak Prescott has probably one of the top 3 ceilings on this slate, and I think he's going to go under-owned going up against Carolina, who has just absolutely sucked in every way possible. So that's where I'm going to go. I don't think he's going to get played a lot. I think that people are going to piece this game, but as far as the Dak just onslaughts, I think that's where I'm going to go. So
Dak is playing like he did 2 years ago when he was basically an MVP candidate and probably should have won the MVP, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I think he is expensive. So people may pay down for Herbert, may pay down for, Drake May. So I don't think he's gonna be crazy high owned, but I think that's a really good call.
Yeah. He's had 3 games of over 25 points so far in 5 weeks. So, and I just don't think people are going to pay up at quarterback, maybe for a little bit of Jordan Love, but I just don't think people are going to play him. They'd rather play Drake May. They'd rather play Trevor Lawrence. So that's going to be my way of getting different. So that's going to wrap it up for week 6. Before we get out of here, Joel, let everybody know where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Yeah, if you're looking for Brewers content, you can find me at the Joel Wirth on the Twitter and on the Bluesky because I'll be either rage or happy tweeting about them all week, basically. And then Thursday night on the Statement Games YouTube channel, or Wednesday previewing the Thursday night game with Mark Salino.
Good deal. So make sure to check out, follow, like all Joel's work, because Joel is the man. Jesus, I cannot talk today. So I'm over on Twitter machine at Jameson Rules. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help it grow, all that good stuff. Just want to shout out everybody in the chat watching. Appreciate all the support. Hope we win you some money this week. Hope the chalk doesn't hit for the 6th straight week, but Until next week, appreciate everybody tuning in. We will see you guys later. Thanks.